Okay, so if you missed it in the last video, here's the bumper, here's all these parts, here's everything just sitting aside. Basically, we're just going through this engine, going through and making sure that everything is going to be good before I do the transmission. Now, why would you ask, why would I tear this whole thing apart when the transmission is bad? Well, the answer is pretty simple. It's easier for me to go and get the parts to get the engine taken care of and squared away than it is for me to go get the transmission. I have bought a second truck. I need to find a way to go and get it. But the transmission is, yeah, I won't have that part for a while. So I do and will be able to get all the parts for this. Basically, I'm going to be I have to pull the P-pump off so that I can get the tappet cover gasket and like all the other stuff. So basically, I want everything done right, get everything organized and neatened up. So you guys can see we got to do the front main. We got to do, well, I think actually that's pretty much it. I got to do the front main. I do actually need to pull this guy here. So that I got to figure out how to do. It looks like something threads into there and then you can pull it that way. So I do need to pull that. And there's an oil leak right back here at the power steering pump, vacuum pump assembly. So that's definitely coming off. Just redoing some wiring, and you know, getting everything neatened up. To get the ECU mount I need to do, I want to figure out what certain wires are for what and then get rid of what is unnecessary, and we'll go from there. But yeah, so like here is the hose for the brake booster and, you know, power steering and all that. So we'll be making sure that all this stuff is taken care of. So with that being said, let's get into the teardown and we'll go from there. So let's start writing down a list of things we need. All right, so I have gotten a lot of like the wiring over here. I've kind of like neatened up a good bit and got rid of some things that I obviously will not need. We're not gonna like this side. I'll probably work on later and like get all this stuff like neatened up. But I hate the aftermarket stuff and like, you know, hoses and all this shit. But everything here is necessary, so it's not like I can really get rid of anything. I'm gonna get the ECU off now, and we're gonna make a mount for that and get everything all. Probably gonna pull the. Might actually pull the power steering box off as well, because like a lot of this stuff needs cleaned off. I just don't know what I'm gonna do yet, but I have a huge list of parts. I wrote everything down that I need. So P-pump's coming off, power steering box is coming off, ECU's coming out, a bunch of, yeah, just a bunch of stuff. So let's get going. All right, this guy is out. Not sure what I did. Wonder if it's in here. I'm not sure what exactly I did with that piece of metal that I had, but it's got to be in here somewhere, right? That's my logic, unless, aha! Oh, here it is. So I went and got a piece of square stock because now I can make mounts for the ECU, which is what I wanted, which is perfect because this would sit like right in there. And then Break It Brothers Diesel, they're the guys that I actually watched on how to do this swap, and they made an ECU mount off of the shock tower and used bushings and, you know, the whole thing to keep it nice. So that's what I'm probably gonna end up doing. Actually, that's definitely what I'm gonna end up doing. And I will be able to basically have a nice mount for this thing. So coming together all great. Got our wire harness here, everything's all loose because, you know, oil and whatnot. So let's get all the tape off of here because oil and tape don't really mix. But yeah, I need to go through and like, nope, yeah, there we go. I need to go through and like zip tie everything. I did have to actually extend this wire because obviously it wasn't gonna fit. So yeah, because over here is generally where the crank sensor will be. So I had to extend everything and whatnot. So, yeah, oil and electrical tape, they don't really like each other. So need to figure out a better solution for some of this stuff. So that's why tear it all out, make it done, do it right. I wish I had the time to do this right the first time, but I just didn't. So that's what we have now for. All right, so I decided to go at this with some degreaser just to see. And wow, that's it's pretty caked on there. Look at this. Wow, there's layers upon layers of just oil in here. But it's all gotta be done. So this is why these trucks never rust, at least the high mileage ones. The low mileage ones always rust because you never drive them, and a truck like mine, there ain't a speck of rust on this thing. So I got stuff over here and whatnot, so all that. All right, you probably won't be able to see it, but this is the nice thing about a 12 valve is when shit breaks, you just fix it with zip ties. And that's basically the case with that throttle rod. Never ended up fixing it. Just literally, here's a throttle rod. It snapped in half, and then I used zip ties to fix it, and spring. So I have that stuff on order as well. So we're gonna have a nice new spring, return spring setup, and a nice new throttle rod. I can see why I've never exactly wanted to take one of these things off, because that bolt way down back there is so hard to get to, and you have to take this line off. So yeah, that definitely sucks. So I'm gonna use this contraption to try to see if I can't get that last bolt, pull the pulley off, and then this thing's ready to slide right off. All right, still fighting that back bolt back there, but you know, not too big a deal. I decided to just take the line off of here. I don't want to take off this whole concoction here knowing that it doesn't leak. So figured, trying to do this as easy as possible. I wanted to take this whole line with it, but you actually need to take this line off just to be able to get down. All right, so I got the GoPro batteries died. These things are, if you're looking into like filming and stuff, like GoPros, oh man, I hate the battery life on these things. Fully charged battery, and it decides to just stop filming and only record sound. So there we go. So we got the gear off. I'm gonna set this down here. So we'll start getting this thing going. So I got all the lines for the P-pump off. I got all the nuts out. They're a pain. I can see why I never wanted to do this. Fiance's going to get a bunch of parts now, so I'd like to get the P-pump off and the power steering pump off today. And then tomorrow this thing can pretty much all go back together. I know this is a lot of disassembly, and that's basically what I'm spending my days doing, is disassembling. I'll save the turbo for another time so I can do a dedicated video on the VGT on that. Even with the blown transmission, it's just, doesn't really matter because I want to get the stuff done, and then we'll worry about the transmission later when I get my other truck. So as for that, looks like, so there's 4 bolts in the backside. No wonder this thing doesn't go anywhere. So let's get them off. All right, so I had to use, so I could get actual leverage on it. Be very careful with these bolts, by the way. Wow, they're easy to strip. Everybody says you just need a fuel solenoid, or fuel shutoff solenoid, and here's the problem. Here's the piece right here. That's broken off inside the pump. So I need to find a way to see if that's replaceable. And if it is, guys, send me links to that. So you guys notice like the little bit of lighting that there is from the roof. Sorry about that with the lights and whatnot. It is what it is. But we got the P-pump off. You guys can kind of see like what I had going on here. This was just a spring for the return because I lost one day. The truck tried to run away on me, you know, not a big deal. And then, yeah, I didn't realize there's 2 mounting holes here apparently. So those were what I was fighting with. You guys can see there is a mounting bracket right there. So I got all the bolts out for the power steering pump, which I'll probably grab tomorrow. But yeah, so everything's all set up to be, we got a bunch of parts down in there to get everything together. I'm going to ask to do the valve adjustment tomorrow, so it'll be later tomorrow we'll do the valve adjustment. We'll start throwing this thing back together. So I also got to go get the tappet cover gasket and the throttle rod. I pulled this thing off the side of the P-pump because like the way that this stuff comes through, it's kind of like a pain to match that and do it again. So you guys can see the end of the throttle rod snapped that one day. So I just threw some zip ties on it and went on my merry way. That we're gonna fix. Like anything that's basically been rigged, we're gonna fix. So like anything that I haven't gone over, because a lot of stuff I'll rig just to get myself going again. And then most of the time I'll end up fixing it. So if you guys see anything that you don't like, let me know down in the comments so I know to put that on my list of things to tackle. Like the wiring is kind of like, I definitely want to go over that and fix that. Like I don't like how this ground is. I want to redo like battery terminals and stuff. So just get rid of as much of the unnecessary wiring as possible. And yeah, basically go from there. But this video is not as great as yesterday. Yesterday's video, you guys are killing it. With the views on yesterday's video, with the comments, everything, you guys are killing it. So we're just gonna keep basically squaring away with this thing. Tomorrow I should be able to make a lot more progress. So earlier in the day we got an appointment, and then my fiance's dentist appointment. After that, we'll be back in here basically throwing this thing back together. Now it is a little cold in here, so we can't really throw everything, throw paint on a lot of the stuff that I kind of wanted to, but I'm trying to clean up as much as possible. Started spraying degreaser and stuff on everything. So basically, yeah, just got to get everything cleaned up. Then give me a pry bar. Should be able to pull that thing out now. There she is, Tappet cover, all out. That is horrendous. And this thing was leaking all over the side of the block. So, yeah, so I guess we'll get that cleaned up and everything. Yeah, just observing things and, you know, stuff.
I'm down here.
And go from there. Looks like I'm gonna have to shorten up that fuel line there a little bit, but besides that, you know, everything looks like it's there, and no, yeah, cool. All right, so I'll let you guys decide. Should I go and get a different Tappet cover, get an aftermarket one, or should I just try to reuse this? What do you guys generally do in this case? So as you can see, we made a decent bit of progress today. P-pump gone, Tappet cover gone, everything else. So I just need to get the power steering pump, which I will figure out how to do tomorrow. And we'll go from there. So everything else torn apart. Let's, at this point, I think we're at the point that once the power steering pump's off, everything goes back together. So awesome. It's raining outside, so I can have a nice freezing ride home. But other than that, yeah, let's get all these tools cleaned up and we shall go from there. Let me know if this is something that's fixable on the P-pump. Let me know, and I will try to fix it. All right, hope you guys enjoyed. This is how we're basically gonna leave it. Everything's organized under the truck, so it's out of his way because I won't be working on it till like 3 or 4 tomorrow. But guys, seriously, I appreciate the hell out of you guys for yesterday's video, 7,000 views in 6 hours. You guys are killing it. So I'm going to, just because of how many views and the positive comments and everything that went along with that, I'm gonna do my best to get this thing as perfect as possible and done right as possible. So if you guys can leave me down in the comments, let me know what you wanna see, what you want me to do to it. Like if you see anything that was kind of half-assery, make a mention of it down in the comments and let me know so that I know if I don't think of it to go over it. But yeah, seriously, thank you guys for the super amount of support on this new series of basically building my dream truck. That's basically what this is gonna be. This is the truck that I've always wanted when it had 20x12s and it was a single wheel truck, but now we're going in and building it better. So absolutely love the mega cab flares, and it just that alone gives me a lot more motivation to work on this thing. So I want this whole thing painted. We'll consider, not yet, but I do want a cow hood at some point, but I will take care of this guy for you guys, and obviously we'll do the paint on the fenders just so that, you know, it keeps me happy. I'm sure it'll keep a lot of other people happy, but we will, yeah, trying to do it as best I can on this thing. So thank you guys. Smash like, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. This thing ain't going anywhere. Have a good one.